Welcome back to Football for the Fans, where the fans come for everything football. To date, the current Liverpool team that are undefeated and have won 22 of the 23 matches they have played, only drawing once, are firmly on track to break countless Premier League records. As a result of Jurgen Klopp's ability to transform players into hard-working, motivated and consistent individuals, the team flourishes as a whole and appeared to have peaked at the perfect time, the time when Manchester City have dropped off. After amassing 97 points last season and still not winning their first Premier League title since 1989-90, one could expect that the current European champions wouldn't be mentally able to replicate such form, and City would again regain their title. Rather, they've dug in their heels and are looking like the best team in world football, with tight scheduling, several squad-based injuries and some stubborn opponents failing to dislodge their onslaught. In fact, what some may have expected would happen to Liverpool this season has instead happened to Josep Guardiola's side, whose inconsistent form has all but rendered the title race over. On the contrary, there was a growing case being made that the disparity in quality between the other 19 Premier League teams of this season compared to seasons gone by mean that Liverpool have far less competition week in, week out to face, hence their unbeaten run. As well, there are strong suggestions that they would fail to hold a candle to the great Premier League teams of the past, namely the Arsenal Invincibles team, Mourinho's 04-05 Chelsea team, the 1989-99 treble-winning Man United side, and Manchester City's team that achieved 198 points across 2 seasons, and of course the Derby team that finished with 11 points and only a single win. Now, this may be because there are many fans who don't want the 30-year lid lifted off Liverpool's titleless run. This may be because some fans don't want their prized Golden Premier League trophy shared. Or this may be because there is a genuine case that this Liverpool team might not be the greatest we've seen. So today, let's compare and contrast this high-flying squad with some of the greatest teams in Premier League's history, and for my sake, hope that Liverpool don't completely bottle the league and leave this video as a useless waste of time. Actually thinking about it, it would be slightly amusing as an impartial observer to witness what on earth could possibly occur that would derail Liverpool this season. Either way, at the end of this video, I'm hoping to have given you an unbiased perspective based upon facts, research, the opinions of professionals, and my opinion formed from this research. I'll also give my own verdict, and will be making a judgment once all research is taken into account, and have not created this video with any preconception of what team I think is superior. To start, let's compare the starting 11s of the current Liverpool team and that of Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United and City, based upon who started most frequently throughout the season. Then we will look at the respective ladders of those seasons, comparing the highest point scorer with the lowest, top scorers and other important elements to compare the teams, and also the respective level of competition they were so successful against. Finally, we will place these past teams against each other in a quarter and semi-final. I will judge who would win out of those teams based upon how they played at their absolute best, and the winner of that will square off against the current Liverpool side to decide the stature of the Merseyside club. Yes, it seems unfair that this Liverpool side play automatically in the final, but this video is about if this side is the greatest in Premier League history. So if they lose the hypothetical game, well, our question is answered. Let's begin. Liverpool's most common starting 11 this season consists of Alisson and his 7 clean sheets from 15 appearances in goal, December's Player of the Month Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, Van Dijk and Joe Gomez as the central defenders with left back Andrew Robertson rounding off the defence. In midfield, captain Jordan Henderson sits in central midfield alongside stalwart James Milner and the added attacking threat that is Gini Wijnaldum. Unfortunately, classy Brazilian number 6 and former Real Madrid and Monaco youngster Fabinho misses out by only a single appearance. Up front, Liverpool have one of the best front threes in world football. Roberto Firmino as the brilliant false 9 that he is, with Mo Salah flanking him on the right and Africa Footballer of the Year Sadio Mane on the left. Jurgen Klopp was and remains the man behind Liverpool's success. Next up is the Arsenal Invincibles team, starting with German goalkeeper Jens Lehmann, who got 3 yellow cards in all competitions in the 03-04 season. Ashley Cole, an Arsenal favourite of course, starts at left back with Lauren at right back. The exceptionally reliable central defensive partnership of Sol Campbell and Kolo Touré were key in remaining undefeated for 38 matches and round out a truly sturdy defence. Lee Dixon always mentions Arsene Wenger's 4-4-2 on FIFA, but it truly proved effective for many seasons. The flat midfield lineup from left to right reads Robert Pires, Gilberto Silva, Patrick Vieira, and the recent interim coach Freddie Ljungberg. Up top, and you could rightly suggest that the non-flying Dutch sat a little deeper than his prolific counterpart, was Dennis Bergkamp, maybe the most technical footballer of all time. who formed one of the greatest two-striker partnerships in the Premier League with none other than Thierry Henry, the greatest Premier League player of all time. The manager, who had his most successful and innovative period as Arsenal boss during this season, was club legend Arsene Wenger. Chelsea's 2004-05 season saw them lose only a single game to the then not cash-flooded Man City. To mix it up, their manager we'll start with, who was already mentioned before, was the loose-mouthed Jose Mourinho, who won the Premier League Manager of the Season after he won the monthly awards in November and January. In net was Chelsea icon and now semi-professional ice hockey goaltender Petr Cech. Let's start in the centre of defence, where Mourinho favourite Ricardo Carvalho partnered captain John Terry, the season's PFA Player of the Year. The left fullback was the loyal William Gallas, and on the right, Paulo Ferreira. The three in midfield started with the man with the position named after him, Claude Makélélé. Then further forward was arguably the second best player in the league in this season, and the now Chelsea manager Frank Lampard. With the remaining four players, we come to an issue, but we will stick to our criteria of most appearances in the season, and some players will play in slightly unfamiliar positions. But I will look at those who started and those who came on as a sub. That is so that Mateo Kezman, who only started 6 but came on 19 times, doesn't make the team over others. In this case, Thiago Mendes will start alongside Lampard, who just edges out Joe Cole. Oddly, Arjen Robben will not start in this team due to his 2 injuries in the season. Considered as knocks according to Transfermarkt, he missed exactly 100 days and 19 games when the two combine. Thus, we will start the prolific Ido Gudjohnsen, club legend Didier Drogba, and Irish winger Damien Duff as our front three. The Man United side of 1998-99 instantly seemed strong favourites to win against the Liverpool team in our hypothetical final, simply because they can relish in the fact that they've won the treble. Manager Alex Ferguson this season pulled off that Champions League final win, the one where Bayern Munich forgot how to defend. The goalkeeper Peter Schmeichel is one of the greatest of all time and, in my opinion, the greatest of the Premier League era. From left to right in defence was Dennis Irwin, who is known for his all-round brilliance but is still a little underrated, I believe. Hard man Jaap Stam played to the left of Ronnie Johnson, who was flanked by Valencia's greatest ever manager, Gary Neville. Formation-wise, we've only seen a couple of 4-3-3s and a flat 4-4-2, and this Man United team will square that tie-up. In the centre of midfield is genius Paul Scholes, and the man who makes Jaap Stam scared at night, United captain Roy Keane, who in the Champions League of this season pulled off one of the great all-time individual performances. Flanking on the left is Giggs, famous for his sparkling 2+ decades at Man United, and on the right is none other than London-born Manchester United fan David Beckham, known for being a generational talent with a wicked eye for a cross and free kick. The strike partnership of former Sydney FC player Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole is legendary and tops off what was a hugely successful team. The final team in contention is the current greatest ever team statistically in the Premier League, Pep's dominating Manchester City side. In goal, whilst not as brilliant as solely goalkeeping as Alisson, stands the most modern goalkeeper of the bunch in terms of shot stopping and distribution, fellow Brazilian Ederson. On the left of defence wasn't Benjamin Mendy due to his injury issues, but instead Danilo, who surpasses Fabian Delph by a single appearance, whilst the right back was the former Sheffield United youth product and world-class goalkeeper Kyle Walker. In the centre of defence is Otamendi with 34 appearances and, fortunately or unfortunately, John Stones, who holds one more appearance over captain Vincent Kompany. Will this come back to haunt them? The underrated but still brilliant Fernandinho sits as the deepest midfielder, whilst we face another dilemma in midfield, as we are unable to accommodate Man City servant David Silva. Instead, Kevin De Bruyne's brilliant season with little to no injury disruptions took him to world-class status among the likes of Ronaldo, Messi, and the goalkeeper Kyle Walker. Aside him will sit Bernardo Silva, who too elevated his stature to new heights this season. The front three, which means now that 3 teams are using a 4-3-3 formation and will pip the 2 4-4-2s, the young player of the season, Leroy Sané, starts on the left, and this season marked the beginning of the more prolific Raheem Sterling, as they play wingers to none other than Sergio Aguero up top. Having now run through all the starting 11s of these teams, let's take a look at each ladder, where we would consider the mean, median and range of each respective season, up to the point the teams played 23 matches to give us an idea of who faced the greatest competition. This is because the current Premier League season is only up to round 23, and each of the contenders at this point in the season were already first, so I consider this as fair a test as possible. We will also look at the top 6 and each team's record against those other 5 teams and their goal difference. First up, Liverpool, who after 23 rounds are 16 points ahead already. To look at their competition, who many believe is inferior to that of other seasons, the mean point tally is 32.9, which we will round to a 33. The median teams are Arsenal and Crystal Palace, who are both on 30, so that results in the median being 30. The range is 67 minus 17, which equals 50. Liverpool's record against the top 6, well, the other 5 teams beside first place, they are Manchester City, Leicester, Chelsea, Man United and Spurs. So, from earliest in the season to closest to round 23, they have a 1-2 win over Chelsea, a 2-1 victory over Leicester, a 1-1 draw with United, a 2-1 win over Spurs, a 3-1 win over Man City, a 4-0 win over Leicester, and a 0-1 win over Spurs, as well as a 2-0 win over United. Their goal difference is 54 goals scored with only 15 conceded to equal positive 39. Next up is the Invincibles team, where the mean point score is 31.25, which we will round to a 31. The median is again 30 thanks to Southampton and Aston Villa both being on 30, and the range is 55 minus 17, which equals 38. By this point of the 03-04 season, the top 6 was Man United, Chelsea, Newcastle, Charlton Athletic, and Liverpool, of which Arsenal's record was a 0-0 draw with Man United, a 3-2 win over Newcastle, a 1-2 win over Liverpool, a 2-1 win over Chelsea, and a 1-1 with Charlton. Their goal difference is 44 goals, with only 15 conceded to equal 29. Mourinho's Chelsea team won more points than the Invincibles, but let's break down some of the stats. The mean points tally was 31.35, rounding to a 31. The median is provided by Man City and Charlton on 31 and 29 respectively to again give us 30. The range is 53, thanks to Sunderland being on 9 and Chelsea smashing it on 62. The top 6 at this point consisted of Man United, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal and Charlton, of which Chelsea's record was a 1-0 win over United, 0-0 with Spurs, 1-0 over Liverpool, 2-0 with Arsenal, 0-1 over Liverpool, and a 0-2 over Spurs. With 45 goals scored and only 8 conceded, their goal difference is plus 37. The penultimate team is Manchester United's 98-99 team, where the mean points total was 30.8, the median was 31 thanks to Middlesbrough and Spurs, and the range was 47 minus 16, which is by far the closest so far at 31. The top 6 at the time included Chelsea, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Leeds and Liverpool, and their record was a 3-0 loss to Arsenal, a 2-0 win over Liverpool, a 3-2 win over Leeds, and a 1-1 with Villa. The first loss against the top 6 side. Does this show the reduced overall quality of other teams in modern football? Or that the treble-winning Man United team just aren't as good as we thought? Either way, their goal difference is 51 goals scored with 26 conceded to equal plus 25. The final team is Pep's Man City that won 100 points from a single season. After 23 matches, the mean points total was 31.4, which we will round to 31. The median, provided by Watford and West Ham, is 25.5, and the range is 62 minus 17, which is 45. The top 6 consisted of Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs and Arsenal, where their record was a 5-0 win over Liverpool, a 0-1 win over Chelsea, a 3-1 win over Arsenal, a 2-1 win over United, a 4-1 Spurs victory, and that 4-3 loss to Liverpool. Their goal difference is 67 goals scored with only 17 conceded to equal plus 50. Now, as we look at all of these important statistics together, let's talk about the main event, the teams competing against each other. I'll pose a question to you and try to be as unbiased with yourself as possible. Who are you currently backing to win out of the 5 teams? Well, I can tell you that I'll be pinning the 2 red teams, United and Arsenal, against each other, as well as the 2 blue teams, Chelsea and City. But first, after long personal debate, I've formed a combined 11, of course, considering the form of each player in their respective season to match day 23. The team is as follows. Peter Schmeichel stands between an unlikely to ever be penetrated pair of sticks. The fullbacks are Ashley Cole and Trent Alexander-Arnold, who marginally, and I mean truly marginally, edge out Andy Robertson and Gary Neville respectively. The sheer fact that Premier League legends including Ian Wright, Alan Shearer and Gary Neville have noted that Cole was the only one who could ever compete with Cristiano Ronaldo at United puts him in this team. Whilst the Player of the Month trophy, attacking statistics and consideration that, yes, he's not defensively as sound as Neville, but TAA is part of a defence that have only conceded 15 thus far. The central defenders are John Terry and Virgil van Dijk, and I found it surprising that it was the latter who was the first person confirmed to my starting 11 alongside Peter Schmeichel. JT on the other hand beat out Stam and Sol Campbell, because 23 games into the season, Chelsea had conceded 8, and he went on to win the Premier League Player of the Year. He'll captain this side. In another flat 4-4-2, that I'll admit will have to be quite malleable. We have, from left to right, Sadio Mane, whose 11 goals and 8 assists just edges out Giggs when considering his style of play. De Bruyne edges out Scholes because he missed a handful of games in the early part of the season, as well as Lampard, who is another attacking midfielder and is therefore more comparable, whose 7 goals and 4 assists in 23 games didn't compare to the exceptional De Bruyne, who had 6 and 9 respectively at this stage. In the hardest decision of this team, one that I didn't want to make, Vieira edges out Makelele and Keane. Truly, it could have been decided by closing your eyes and pointing to one, but I believe that Keane played his best football in the latter half of the season and in other competitions, whilst Vieira provided a more attacking outlet compared to Makelele, and he can co-captain this team as well. Leave a comment below as to who you choose here, because the fact that Chelsea had only conceded 8 compared to Arsenal's 15 almost makes me change my mind. Moving on, Mo Salah will occupy the right hand side, assuring that Liverpool control the flanks of this team, for much of the same reasons as why Keane was left out. Different styles of play to Beckham, yes, but the football we've seen from Salah in the seasons recently gone by, and this one is out of this world. Topping off this list is none other than Thierry Henry and Dwight Yorke. By 23 games in, this pair had 28 goals and 15 assists between them. Drogba's limited appearances and the fact his season tally was less than both Henry and Yorke at the 23 match stage rules him well out. Surprisingly, Bergkamp had missed a couple of matches and only had 2 goals and assists to his name. Yorke's United strike partner Andy Cole's record of 10 goals and 2 assists doesn't compare to peak Henry or Yorke, as similar with Aguero. Finally, Bobby Firmino is expected to have less goals than out-and-out strikers, and was taken into consideration. But despite his undoubted class and importance to Liverpool, if you ask anyone if you'd take prime Yorke, Henry or Firmino, the answer is pretty obvious. I tried to be more forgiving by giving Firmino the chance to make it as the number 10 in the team, however Kevin De Bruyne would take that place also. So, to summarise, we have Schmeichel in net, protected by Cole, Captain Terry, Virgil van Dijk and Trent Alexander-Arnold, with Sadio Mane and Salah occupying the pacey flanks, whilst De Bruyne and Patrick Makelele sit in the middle of my midfield. Finally, Dwight Yorke and Thierry Henry round off a scary team. This means that 4 players from Merseyside make the cut, 3 from the Gunners, 1 from Chelsea, but was close to 2, 1 for City, and finally 2 from the treble-winning Man United team. Let's cut to the chase. First match, Man City versus Chelsea. Here's how it happens. City have a better attack, but Chelsea sets up defensively under Mourinho, who's not taking any chances. Having full trust in a team only conceding 8 in 23, in a league where the median score is 30 compared to Man City's, where it was only 25.5, thus meaning that Chelsea were consistently facing teams in the top half who averaged 1.5 more wins in comparison to City. City have a poorer defence than Chelsea, and Drogba, who in this season scored at a rate right on 0.5 goals per game, is able to take the lead following a Makelele interception that's fed to the attacking mind of Frank Lampard, playing a cutting ball in behind. The future Man City loanee, although don't tell Chelsea fans that, it's still only 2004, the man for the big occasions is Drogba, who overpowers a flailing Otamendi. We go into half-time at 1-0 to Chelsea. Mourinho sets up his team to hold on to the game, with Claude Makelele having a standout performance, outclassed only by centre-half John Terry and Ricardo Carvalho. De Bruyne hits the post from distance around the 80th minute, and Aguero blasts the follow-up over the bar after it ricocheted off the sliding block of the captain, leader, legend himself. Raheem Sterling is nowhere to be seen in this match, however, and the Man City team that would score more points than anyone in Premier League history is the first team to be cut from this tournament, due to the fact that they lost to a counter-attacking team like Liverpool 4-3 in their final game of our shortened 23-game season. Would I have then given them the win if that match didn't occur? Maybe. We will never get to know. Chelsea 1, Man City 0, through to the semi-final. Next is United versus Arsenal. What a matchup this used to be. Thankfully, we still have Keane and Vieira playing. United, having played in the most difficult season of the 4 great teams, have also still scored the second highest behind Man City, who did so in a much easier league. But they conceded the most. Contrary to the other game, this is really a much tighter affair. Contrary to the other game, this is a grudge match, and the tension and dislike between the teams is evident from even the tunnel walkouts. That's a fact. Henry scores inside 20, but Beckham meets Yorke at the back stick to equalise soon after. United then take the lead through a lovely combination between Yorke and Cole, with the latter equalising through Lehmann's legs. It goes into half-time with United in the lead. Both teams return in the second half, much like in the first, oozing quality through fast-paced attacking football. Arsenal scores a wonderful goal from outside of the box, after Thierry Henry and Bergkamp attempt to outdo the rival strike partnership. It's 2-2. Shocking United, Pires then takes the ball around Neville with an instep-to-instep switch that he utilised so often in his career, before squaring it across the box cleanly to Henry to take the lead. As they push forward, the Premier League's greatest ever player picks up the ball in his own half before being taken down by Stam in what is a red card worthy offence, but manages to avoid the whistle by returning to his feet quickly and scoring coolly past the onrushing Schmeichel to secure a brilliant hat-trick and kill the game off. Arsenal have scored 2 in quick succession. The team with the least positive goals against record are exposed against the invincible Arsenal team, and Wenger leads his team brilliantly to victory. Arsenal themselves were not great in defence by conceding 2, but it was expected against a high-scoring team like United. It indeed ends 4-2 to the Gunners. Let's get straight into this one. It's the greatest Premier League defence of all time against an undefeatable team, and as quickly as it starts, the first half is over. Both teams are hesitant to commit too many numbers forward. The one natural defender, Sol Campbell, is having a field day, whilst the technical brilliance of Cole, Lauren and Kolo Toure are able to overpower Drogba, Ida Gudjohnsen and Duff. It enters the last minutes of the game and Patrick Vieira picks up the ball in the midfield before beating Thiago and cutting to the left to avoid Makelele. In the process of his run, he justifies his selection over Makelele in my combined 11, laying the ball into the path of Perez, who's able to find Bergkamp inside the box, who ridiculously flicks the ball over his and Ricardo Carvalho's head, spinning about the body of his man marker and is able to head it past Terry onto the chest of Henry, who powers it using his knee into the back of the net. Chelsea, who rarely conceded on their run to the title, are unable to hold out the invincible Arsenal. Now, they truly deserve the title of undefeatable. Full time and it's 1-0 to the Arsenal. It's Liverpool-Arsenal in the final, and there have been some incredible games in the past between these two. Will the modern brilliance of Liverpool be able to outdo that of a hard-working and tough Arsenal team? The game begins, and within 10 minutes, Henry has found Lomberg tearing down the right, and his cross-come shot finds the more advanced foot of Dennis Bergkamp. Considering that this forward line could overcome Chelsea's 04-05 defence, the likes of Joe Gomez simply doesn't compare. Liverpool are dangerous on the ball, but the defence is competent, with Cole containing Salah well. On the stroke of half-time, the game could almost be over, as the defensively underwhelming Alexander-Arnold is beaten by Perez. Then Bergkamp uses his body well as the ball's passed to him, backs himself into Gomez, and is able to hold up play. Perez fakes shots to tempt Alisson, who stands well in fairness, but the toe poke across to Henry, who has just edged Van Dijk, scores Arsenal's second. Half-time, Arsenal winning comfortably. In the second half, Vieira makes genuine light work of a tackle attempt from Gini Wijnaldum and then Henderson, with the Liverpool captain left on the floor. Vieira fires off a wayward attempt from distance that may even annoy the forwards, who feel they've got the better of Liverpool. In fairness, Van Dijk looks a class above his teammates, making tackles when necessary, and his positioning stops this final from becoming embarrassing. That is until Gilberto Silva and Vieira play a string of rapid passes between each other, and then finds Perez, who has come inside as he does on occasion, firing a beautifully curling effort into the opposite right top corner to make it 3. The referee eventually blows his whistle upon what is a truly astounding result. Liverpool lose 3-0 to the Arsenal Invincibles team, meaning they aren't the greatest Premier League team of all time. Well, let's look at why. The most important thing to consider is the midfield of Arsenal, in comparison to Liverpool's, with a flat four of Perez, Silva, Vieira and Ljungberg absolutely dominated Gini Wijnaldum, James Milner and Jordan Henderson physically, defensively, offensively and overall mobility-wise. While Van Dijk was the best defender on the park even considering the scoreline, TAA was caught out defensively often against Perez and the drifting Bergkamp. The right side of Liverpool's defence, English boys Trent and Joe, stood little chance against the Arsenal offence, hence the dominant 3-0 scoreline and the fact that goals came from the flank for Arsenal. Liverpool certainly had their chances, but Cole was equally just as brilliant as Van Dijk, containing Mo Salah. Sadio Mane had his chances, yes, but at his best, Jens Lehmann was great, and we can ignore the errors he made in other seasons due to his brilliance in 03 and 04. That's when it counts after all. Finally, it's important to say that this Liverpool team weren't dominated in terms of possession, pass completion, forward movement or crosses into the box. Nor were they run ragged and left completely depleted by the end of the match. Liverpool simply didn't have the quality to beat what was an overpowering and dominant team, particularly in midfield. It ends 3-0 to the Arsenal, but it probably could have been the same result had United or Chelsea played against them. The sheer number of points Man City and Liverpool have racked up in recent years is absolutely due to correct transfer business, run by actual footballing brains that is, and it's absolutely due to exceptional coaching and play performances, yes, but the teams they face do not compare to teams in the past. Simply looking at it, both Man City and Liverpool in the last 3 seasons have won the league or finished second by considerable margins, some 15 to 20 points in all of those seasons. I genuinely believe that we are witnessing a big two atop the Premier League that is separate from the rest of the top 6, which is slowly melting away to allow the likes of Wolves and Leicester to flow in and out of European contention over the next couple of years. And that's what happens when you know how to run a footballing club, by the way. So with City in years gone by being unparalleled at the top, then Liverpool challenging them and now running away with it, there's no doubt that they just aren't facing as big a clubs as they were before. Everyone seems to have fallen off a cliff face, no competition. If Chelsea of this season, or even the proud teams that are Leicester and Wolves, played against the Arsenal, United or Chelsea teams of old, there would be some seriously lopsided scorelines. If you notice that Man City only lost by 1 in our knockout competition, you would be right to suggest that I think they were potentially a better team at their absolute peak, and I stress absolute peak, than this Liverpool squad. Do not misinterpret me here, please. The team Liverpool have formed on and off the pitch are exceptional, and I promise they're one of the greats, but I don't think they're as great as the Premier League teams of the past, where they were challenged more every week against greater opposition and a stronger top 4 or 6. I'm more than happy to discuss this in the comment section below, and willing to potentially rethink this video at the end of the season, but as it stands now, this is what I believe. And I think you'll find that if you compare the absolute peaks of each team, you'll come to a conclusion where Liverpool don't come out on top. But that's football, isn't it? And in this case, we'll never know. It's teams of the past versus teams of the present. This video has been a massive effort of data analysis and statistic comparisons, but it's all been worth it in coming to this climactic conclusion. If you've enjoyed the video or you were intrigued by it, hit like and be sure to subscribe, because this video is one of many more awesome videos to come. Leave a comment what you'd like to see below. Leave a comment what your thoughts were on the video, and leave a comment if you enjoyed the style of video or if you'd like to see things changed. This has been a project by Football for the Fans, where the fans come for everything football. Bye for now.